This story is titled Hell in a Cell of Jello. Oh? By Turner Jamestown III. The first thought Petunia had when she awoke was, I'm fucking done with this shit. She shot upright in her bed, with her dark hair all scruffled up, her fury making it look like her hair was standing up by sheer force of will alone, and not by the horrendous case of bedhead that it was. Ignoring her radio alarm clock that for some reason was talking about 9/11, she jumps out of the bed and storms across the floor. Petunia stands at 5 foot 11 inches tall. She has a slim athletic build. She could probably do a backflip. She's always been good at gymnastics. Her roommate, on the other hand, Clarissa, standing in at about 5 foot 6 inches tall, was a fuller body and fair skin. Clarissa was the type who wins beauty pageants, the type who gets Prince Charming and has a happily ever after. Petunia, on the other hand, was always destined for anything but. While Petunia was in the kitchen, waiting for the coffee to be ready, like she always does, Clarissa floats in, even happier than ever, like she always does. Which of course only worsens Petunia's mood. Then Clarissa has the audacity to snatch up the first cup of coffee that Petunia had just made. Of course, this is nothing new either. What's mine is yours, she'd always say, expecting Petunia to reciprocate. Of course, Petunia has realized by now that she never has anything. It's all Petunia's. This morning, though, Petunia had snapped. She's mad as hell and not gonna take it anymore. After contemplating the soon-to-be confrontation for far too long, almost to the point where Clarissa is about to leave the kitchen, Petunia speaks up. Hey, what was all that about last night? When Petunia talks, it sounds like she's swearing in every sentence, even if she's not, while Clarissa speaks with grace and dignity, as if every word were received by a panel of judges. Clarissa says, I don't know. Whatever do you mean? Don't play dumb with me, Clarissa. I meet a nice guy at the bar, then you come around with your titties all poking out and shit, and steal 'em out from under me. Okay, first of all, P. Clarissa called her P because she thought Petunia was an ugly name. I blame Harry Potter. Clarissa continued, People aren't your property, okay? Get woke. It's 2020. He made his own decision. Fuck you, bitch. You know what you did. You do it all the fucking time. Secondly, I did you a favor. He was a dog groomer. I had to waste a whole night trying to ditch him. Petunia rages. I know what he did, idiot. It's one of the reasons I like him. Maybe if you'd spend 5 seconds talking to someone before jumping in the sack, Clarissa smugly interrupts. I don't understand what you're freaking out for. It's not like you went home empty-handed last night. At that very moment, a man exits from Petunia's bedroom. Yo, what up, girls? This 5 foot 7 inch douchebag's name is Howie, a 28-year-old fuckboy wannabe frat bro who never even went to college. From his demeanor, you can tell that this is not his first time being a late-night last resort. Y'all bitches get loud in the morning, you know that? He says, pushing past both of them and stealing the second cup of coffee. Clarissa greets him flirtatiously. Hey, Howie. Petunia just pretends he doesn't exist. You're such a dumb, manipulative bitch. And Clarissa, without even thinking, shouts, Yeah, and you're just an angry, jealous slut. Hey, did you two hear the news this morning? Howie tries to change the subject. That's when Petunia remembers her radio alarm clock she left on. From the other room, they can all hear a reporter talking about a recently released government document pertaining to the government's involvement in the happenings of 9/11. Petunia is too angry to care about what's being said on the radio. She is fuming. As she empties the last half cup of coffee into her mug, she swirls it around a few times, examining it and contemplating her next actions. Then proceeds to dump the contents down the front of Clarissa's shirt. Clarissa screams and flails about. All sense of composure is gone as she curses the high heavens. Petunia storms off to her room. The radio gets cut off mid-sentence as she beats on the off button. Howie rushes to help Clarissa, dumping out his coffee in the sink and fetching some water, then slowly pouring the water over Clarissa's chest, licking his lips the whole time, and being disturbingly thorough. Once Clarissa had calmed down, Howie jokingly flirts, "Damn, girl, that was hot." Clarissa laughs, "You're telling me, am I right?" Petunia is in the middle of screaming into a pillow. Then she hears the door creak open. She jumps up, on guard, but it's just Howie peeking his head in. "Hey, you're still coming to the party, right?" Petunia responds by pitching a pillow across the room at his head. He flees and closes the door. Once he's gone, Petunia has flashbacks to the night before. She remembers that Howie invited the guy from last night. This was her chance. There was no way she was going to let this little skirmish ruin her possible romance. She feels extremely motivated. Petunia spends the rest of the day getting ready for a party that didn't start until later that night, avoiding Clarissa, almost to the extent of bodily harm. Seriously, though, she spends way too long getting ready. It seems insane to me. But she basically spends like the next 10 hours getting ready for a party hosted by some dude who named his truck the Pooter Scooter, tiptoeing around and almost diving out a window in order to avoid confrontation with Clarissa. Now the sun has set, and the moon is lighting up the world. Petunia steps out of her lift. She looks immaculate, like she's about to walk the red carpet. 10 hours is still a crazy amount of time, but she made every second count. She's collecting the attention of everyone as she walks into the party house. She walks through the crowd of people and out into the backyard. She stops to look around as she takes in her surroundings. The crowd is dense and the music is loud. For a moment, she has the attention of every lonely loser here. They, of course, break their gaze with her in order to return it to the 3-foot-high Jello pool in the center of the crowd. Everyone cheers when one of the female fighters throws the other into the blood-red-colored Jello. While Petunia is distracted by the Jello mania, she feels an unexpectedly hard shove to her back. It was Clarissa. And she's got her arm around a guy who looks like he could possibly, maybe, probably be a dog groomer. His name is Mark. He's 6'2" and looks like a healthy lumberjack hipster. "You remember my friend from last night," Clarissa says. "Of course, it's Petunia, right?" Mark says while reaching his hand out for a shake. She shakes it daintily and then sneaks a snarling glare at Clarissa. What has Petunia more pissed than Clarissa having her hands all over him is the fact that Clarissa looks just as good as Petunia, but probably in a quarter of the time. This thought has Petunia almost shaking with rage. So all Clarissa really has to do is keep talking, and Petunia was eventually going to snap. "You'd never believe it, P. It's like my very own Cinderella story. You see, we got separated last night, but I guess fate had brought us together again tonight. Can you believe it? It's just like happily ever after." Snap! Petunia loses it and jumps at Clarissa, scratching and pulling hair. Howie's voice booms over the speakers, hushing the crowd. "Looks like we got ourselves 2 new contestants, sports fans." Our 2 girls start getting forcefully ushered in separate directions around the pool. Petunia struggles the whole way. When she's finally stopped in front of the ladder to get into the pool, she turns to Howie, who is standing on top of a table with a microphone. "I'm not fucking doing this," Petunia bitches. "It's too late now, sweet cheeks. You've been getting everyone pumped up. The bets are already rolling in." Howie amps the crowd even further. "I'm not doing it," she bellows over the crowd. And that's when she hears it. Almost indecipherable from the cheering. She hears, "Of course she's trying to back out. She never wants to do anything fun." Petunia turns to see Clarissa, already stripped of her dress and thigh-deep in Jello. Clarissa continues, "Just go home, P. The spotlight never really suited you anyways." Them's is fightin' words. Petunia ties her hair up and jumps into the pool, throwing her expensive dress to the side mid-air. The audience cheers when she lands with a squish. She almost slips, but collects her footing and stances up, giving no opportunity for Clarissa to get a preemptive strike. All right, boys and girls. We all know the rules. Howie's speakers boom over the audience who is shouting along with him. There are no rules. All right, girls, let's get it sticky. The bell rings. Ting, ting. The two women charged at each other. Petunia loses her footing and drops to a knee. Clarissa is coming in fast. In a split-second decision, Petunia figures she'll aim low and take out the legs. She wraps around her legs and heaves as hard as she can. Clarissa crashes down on top of Petunia, sending them both into the depths of the Jello. Since neither were able to breathe, they finally break apart and get to their feet. At this point, the audience is going wild, hooting and hollering from all angles. Everyone is hypersexualizing this battle of wills, screaming things like, "Yeah, rip her bra off!" and "Oh yeah, girl, you know you like it dirty, don't you?" Meanwhile, jab, jab, Petunia strikes twice, then a knockout haymaker from Clarissa that Petunia swiftly dodges. "You fucking bitch!" Clarissa screams. An audience member chimes in, "Yeah, you dirty little nasty fucking bitch." And from another side, the group starts chanting, "Kiss, kiss, kiss, kiss. I can't believe I was ever friends with you. You're a selfish piece of shit," Petunia taunts. "Haha, more like piece of sexy," the audience responds. "We aren't friends, stupid. You're just another lonely loser who won't stop following me around." Clarissa wipes Jello from her eyes. "Oh, girl, I'd follow you anywhere just to sniff your ass." "Ah," the audience interrupts. "Show us your tits." "That's it. You're going down," Petunia cries as she begins charging forward. "Yeah, go down on her." The audience is starting to get really riled up. "Yeah, take her down like the government took down the World Trade Center." Petunia and Clarissa have no doubt tuned the audience out completely by now. They fight and exchange barbs back and forth. Petunia says she's tired of playing second fiddle to Clarissa. Clarissa defends her honor and says Petunia's emotions are not her responsibility. One is called self-centered and the other is called a pathetic victim. She cold clocks Petunia, sending her to the ground. Petunia, from under the cover of Jello, sweeps out Clarissa's legs. She then gets to her feet and does a backflip, landing her knees right into Clarissa's spine. I told you she could do a backflip. They both struggle to get up to their feet. At this point, lips are busted, eyes are blackened, and hair has been ripped from scalps. Claw marks, no longer just scratches, but gouges, scar up both of their bodies. Of course, there's no way to tell how much blood has been spilled because of the color of the Jello. However, we can be sure that it's not a healthy amount. And as Petunia recoils from the heavy knee to the sternum, Clarissa says, "It didn't have to be this way, P. Why couldn't you just stay in your place?" "It's too late for that, Clarissa. I can never forgive you." The final surviving audience member heaves himself onto the side of the pool and heckles while gasping his last breath. "That's right, you naughty sluts. Don't forgive each other like we won't forgive the thousands of innocent lives the government wrote off as collateral damage." These two Amazonian gladiators are too in it right now to notice their surroundings. Clarissa charges and attempts a flying Superman punch. Petunia tenses up and feels her legs slip out from under her. This is it. Game over. Even in something like this, Clarissa is the winner. As Petunia braces for the finishing strike, she pays just a pittance of attention to her peripheral senses. Everything is wrong. The crowd has gone silent. There's no music. And Howie hasn't even screamed out vagina for a while now. Unsure why she hasn't been knocked unconscious yet, Petunia puts her arms out to brace Clarissa's impact. Her body has gone limp and is no longer poised to attack. That means Clarissa must have seen it as well. She let out a scream as they both scan what used to be the audience. Of course, all that's left now is a pulpy, bloody mess. The absolute terror didn't really hit Petunia until she spotted the one guy who was impaled by a chair. Clarissa and Petunia are braced in each other's arms as they surveil the carnage. A battle royale broke out here. There were two sides: conspiracy theorists and angry patriots. Now, I don't know which side Howie was on, but it's fair to say that he got the worst of it. Someone wanted to send a message. From what Petunia can deduce, they crushed his head with a big speaker, then proceeded to drag his body over to where now an American flag proudly waves. As high up in the sky as it can be, while being lodged 4 feet up the ass of a decapitated corpse. It looks as though Mark put up a hell of a fight. In the end, he died after he lost his hand and used his exposed bone as a blade, getting it lodged in someone else's neck. Then he must have passed out from shock and got trampled to death. Petunia grabs for Clarissa's hand to stop hers from shaking. Clarissa grabs hers straight back as they look out onto the horizon, still thigh deep in a pool of Jello, neither attempting to leave out of fear of what would happen. It seems bombs have gone off around the city. Riots and fires have broken out everywhere. In the sky, a helicopter spins out of control and crashes with a fiery explosion. Ash veils the sky, refracting the colors of the fire below like something from a nightmare. The two gladiators revert back to two scared little girls holding each other like their lives depended on it. By this point, the Jello has basically reverted back to a liquid state. These two girls are half naked, cold, and sticky. They have no clue what to do. They just stand there, holding each other. "You two should kiss!" screamed from somewhere unseen. "Touch her butt!" from the other side. Suddenly, the backyard is stormed by 12 heavily armed military personnel. "Oh, thank God, they're here to save us," Clarissa cries. Petunia lets out a sigh of relief as they start making their way to the ladders out of the pool. That is until they stop dead in their tracks when the soldiers speak again. "Petunia Masterson, you're under arrest for the horrendous attacks of 9/11. "What? What?" echoes Clarissa. The soldiers' weapons fixate on the two girls in the pool. "We have eyewitness testimony that places you at the head of a terrorist cell responsible for 9/11. "What? You're joking, right? You're fucking high. I would have been like 10 years old." Petunia is baffled. "Shut up, you monster. There's only one thing you can say to me that might help your case. Where is our agent?" "What agent? Yeah, who?" "Our undercover. Where is he? He never checked in." Panic floods over Clarissa's face as the soldier looks over to Mark's body lying on the ground. Disgusted, he says, "God, you really are a fucking monster." Then lifts his gun to Petunia's head. Another soldier steps up and whispers to him, "Nah, don't be stupid. We need her alive." 2 other soldiers separate and restrain each of them, forcefully dragging just Petunia out of the pool of Jello. Clarissa pleads frantically, No, please, this is all just a big misunderstanding. I was just joking when I said all that stuff. She's a good person, please. I didn't even know he was an agent. I was just angry. P, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it, P. I take it all back. P, I love you. Tears streamed from Clarissa's eyes. The soldiers escort Petunia to a truck in front of the house, keeping their weapons trained on her the whole time. Petunia can still hear Clarissa begging for them to release her friend. If anybody could, it would be Clarissa. Please, she didn't do any. Bang! Gunshot. The silence deafens. The moment sinks in, and Petunia starts struggling as if her life were about to end. No matter what she did, though, kicking, biting, headbutts, they wouldn't kill her. She knows exactly why, too. She's a patsy. In a last-ditch attempt to calm the public down, it doesn't have to make sense, really. They will spin whatever story they want to. They will bury her so deep that she'll never even get to see a picture of the light of day. The soldiers get her situated in the back of the truck. Then one of the guards speaks up. Wow, you're really sexy, you know that? Petunia, almost entirely unresponsive at this point, just turns to look at him in the eye and spits in his face. He gets pissed and plants the hilt of the gun into the side of her head. As everything goes black, Petunia can't help but to think of two certainties. One, everybody is the leader of their own story. And two, not every story has to have a happy ending. Don't trust the government. The end. That was a fucking thing, wasn't it? Alright. Well, don't forget to leave your prompts in the comments below. Subscribe and like and share and all that weird stuff. So yes, thank you for tuning in. If you would like to make fun of me, you go right ahead because ooh. Let me know if you would have wrote it differently and how you would have went about it, and yeah. Let's have a dialogue. Let's open a discussion. Let's talk to each other. Like, who are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Have you ever heard somebody shit in your mouth? You ought to.